Welcome into Inside 44 with Alex Alexandrou. My name is John Zaglua, Communications Manager here at the City of Aurora, Illinois. We're coming at you today with a brand new and exciting program. We talked about this internally and said, what can we do to engage more residents and really get the word out about what's going on here in Aurora? And so after some discussions and buy-in, we're here today with the namesake of the program. He is the Chief Management Officer for the City of Aurora, and he's been with the city for 20-plus years. He's a local government veteran, and he's gracious enough to be here with me for many shows to come. But the first show here today, Alex Alexandrou. Alex, super exciting to be here.
Thank you, John. It's my pleasure to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity.
What should people expect from this program?
Well, I think in talking about it, we have so many great things going on.
Yes.
And there are so many issues, positive challenges that are sometimes negative. So we thought we would use this platform as an additional channel, so to speak, to speak directly to residents, bring to life and maybe explain a little further projects that have been approved recently, or new opportunities and challenges that may arise if folks aren't able always to follow, say, the city council process. So we thought this would be a good way to highlight and further explain and let people know what's going on.
We talked about this a little bit off air, and it's really exciting because from the residents' perspective, there are very few chief management officers across the country who have programs like this, who are speaking directly to the people in an outside form of city council or committee meetings. So I think this is really just an exciting opportunity from the city's perspective and from your perspective to communicate with more people in a different method.
I agree 100%, and I know that there are city managers across the country. Also, there's some that have this type of a forum, but I think the important benefit here is you might only see a snippet of a council meeting or a committee meeting, or read something in the Beacon about what happened, but we don't always get to describe more our process through the Legistar process, for example. There's a lot of detail that people don't necessarily see. The city council sees them. But I think this whole floor that we've built here in this studio and this communications and marketing department is a credit to the city council and to the mayor and the administration to try and provide the best in communication, information, on a regular and consistent basis. So you guys are doing a great job.
Well, it's great to have you here. We have so much to get to in the inaugural episode of Inside 44 with Alex Alexandrou. We're talking about development here today. So much going on in Aurora. We have two in particular we'd like to highlight. Then we'll also talk about making deals and what's the art of making a deal in local government. We're going to get to that one a little bit later. We'll start with the residences at Eastbank Apartments here in Aurora off 100 North Broadway. 200-plus luxury apartments coming here to the downtown area. First ground-up downtown development in 20-plus years. There's going to be a parking structure, private pool, dog park. It's a really exciting development for our downtown area. How did this all come together?
Well, like you said, it is the first ground up since, I believe, 2008, since the River Street condos. We're looking at a high-end market rate, very beautifully designed project, about 258 units. You mentioned the amenities, but the location is what sets it apart. It's right on the Fox River, directly across from the train station, and significantly, it's the first of what we believe to be many developments along the river. This one happens to be right near the new bike pedestrian bridge, which literally connects the east side with the west side. And so it has been a long time in the making. We're very proud of the effort, the resiliency of this project, because the discussion started pre-COVID. And we know that nationally, projects that started pre-COVID, not all of them were completed around the country. We were very fortunate. We have a very dogged and determined Mayor's Office of Economic Development that works with the mayor and I to keep projects going, even through COVID. And I think we finally saw the results when we recently broke ground, and now it's well underway.
How were you able to persevere through a situation like this? Because you mentioned, obviously, COVID being a big factor, interest rates going up. There were a lot of things that could have derailed this project. Nevertheless, it got done. How did you, the mayor, the mayor's office of economic development, and the developer work together to still get this deal done?
So again, I think the public sees the end result. I like to say, let's always begin with the end in mind. So that's been sort of our mantra, one of our mantras in the last 7.5 years. But in this case, we really always kept the end goal in sight. And that was, we were sold on the design, we were sold on the developer. This is a very experienced developer with some beautiful transit-oriented developments in Wheeling and Des Plaines. We talked to the local officials there. They were thrilled beyond belief. They're run very well. They're clean. Their vacancy rate is almost nothing. And they are transit-oriented, meaning they're right by a train station or a bus depot. And so this was sort of the confluence of a plan that we knew would work, but then COVID hits. And so during COVID, we never lost touch with the developer, DAC. We constantly were planning. They continued to evolve their design while we worked on what the city needed to do. And once plans were submitted, we kept after those plans. But nobody could have anticipated how long the COVID effect would have on the economy. So the higher interest rates persevered for a long time. It made financing tough for these, this is an almost $90 million project that needed city assistance. But supply chain issues slowed things down as well. And then most recently, they uncovered, I wouldn't call them environmental issues in the traditional sense. They had already accounted for that. But here, because of that history on the river that the city has had, let me explain that further. So, like a lot of old industrial towns on rivers, the city economy then was built in and around the river. We had factories and foundries and different companies built on the river, used the river as almost a dumping ground, turned their backs on the river. And so slowly over the years, those businesses left, but in some cases what they left behind were some surprises, not just environmentally, but in this last case with DAC, they literally uncovered almost like an archaeological site where it was the foundations and walls of former buildings that back in the day, with fewer codes, fewer requirements, they literally just knocked the buildings down and left things in place and built above. And so they had that to deal with, which was right pretty much in the middle of the entire operation. So thankfully, the staff and DAC and the city council approved the additional last assistance for the project, and off it's going. And so we're very excited, and we really believe, just like the bridge and the transit-oriented developments from the CMAQ grant that allowed for the bridge to be built, the transit improvements by the train station, the new bus depot, and the new configuration, this apartment building is the spark that will lead to other development on the river, which we're very excited about.
Could we talk a little bit more about that specifically? I mean, yes, DAC is going to be there, and that's going to be going up. We'll get to the casino, that future site in a moment as well. But clearly, by putting these apartments up, I would think it's going to incentivize more developers to come in and build on both sides of the river and add more residential spots to downtown.
So that's exactly right, and that's what MOED and staff are geared up for. That's what they've been working on. We had another planned development on the West Bank. Unfortunately, that also fell victim to a number of the same factors. But we're back at it again. We've been talking to other developers. We have the additional city-owned parking lots that are to the south and towards the casino. So those are being actively discussed, marketed, visioned. But what we have there in that process, also the vision that the mayor's had for another district on the River Street side. And so those lots now are a key component to the overall vision of creating another mixed-use retail, entertainment, residential district from basically New York Street all the way to Wilder Park.
That's very interesting because, obviously we're going to talk more about the casino. It is going to be moving, and that you could argue is another entertainment sort of district on that part of Aurora when you talk about the Chicago Premium Outlets and then the casino now off the interstate. So now here's another potential entertainment sort of district here in the downtown. That's got to be really exciting.
It's very exciting. It takes a lot of patience, a lot of perseverance, a lot of strategy. But at the end of the day, you have to make the numbers work, and you have to partner with the right development team. We have wonderful intergovernmental relationships with the highway, county highway folks, the county engineers. All of that pieces together, and it takes a lot of effort and time. And sometimes folks get impatient. Sometimes people see other communities and their development, and they wonder, why not here? Well, we have benefits and we have challenges that maybe some other communities don't. For example, in the downtown, we're dealing with some old infrastructure, some old historic buildings. So you can see how successful the end result has been with some of the downtown residential, for example. The Hobbs building, what a magnificent development. That was a Herculean endeavor, to say the least. And now we've got a full apartment complex there, historic apartments. We have a second restaurant that just opened, a third on the way. And they're not just pedestrian chain restaurants. They're unique destination restaurants. So the terminal building, right at the corner of Broadway and Galena, also full. A building that was dark for 50 or 60 years, historic, had a lot that needed to go into it. But we had the right partner there in Urban Equities, just like, they also redeveloped the Keystone building on Stolp, which has helped uplift Stolp Avenue, and that has been one of our great little festival locations, thanks to Mike Nelson and his great team. So we continue to look at these buildings that have been basically abandoned. When I started with the city in 2000, there was really nothing going on down here. And these were old buildings that people seemingly wrote off. And when Mayor Irvin came in 2017, he had a clear notion and a clear direction that these buildings were valuable and needed to be redeveloped, because one of the keys to a vibrant downtown are residential units. So we're following up on a survey that had been done shortly after the mayor came in that indicated a very strong demand for apartments. Then the challenge was how to meet that demand. And I think we're well on our way, and DAC is just the latest iteration of that. So stay tuned. There's a lot in the hopper, and I encourage folks to continue to pay attention, get involved, and we'll keep delivering as best we can.
Yeah, we'll be sure to cover all of it as it unfolds here on this program as well. We're going to shift to another brand new development now. Hollywood Casino Aurora, the new one off of Farnsworth and I-88. Construction's begun, obviously. There's already a structure in place. I drove by the other day. I was astonished at how quickly it's already been put up. You know, the parking structure is being worked on. The casino itself is being worked on, which is great. For those who don't know, it's going to have a 4-star hotel, convention center space, obviously state-of-the-art gaming, its own parking structure as well. This is a really exciting development again for Aurora. And when we talked about informal or new districts, there's now a new entertainment district that's going to be formed right off of I-88, easy for people to access. So what's kind of the current state now of the new casino?
The new casino is ahead of schedule. It's going great. You can see the progress literally every day. The great thing about it, like the downtown Eastbank development, it's bringing hundreds and hundreds of construction jobs. It's bringing tremendously positive attention to that area. Obviously, the anchor there has been the Simon Outlet Mall, the Chicago Premium Outlets, that continues now. They're back. I mean, they're fully back from the effects of COVID. They're almost 100% full. They're drawing 8 million visitors a year. So one of the attractions to the site across the street for the casino was the foot traffic and the vehicular traffic, not just off I-88, right, which is seemingly an industry trend in the casino gaming industry where they want to be at or near these major highways, but also the opportunity with the outlet mall. And so you talked about the amenities. I mean, this is going to be a full-blown resort. Unlike some of the other new casinos that have popped up, which are just casinos on the south side, this is going to have tremendous hotel, 5 top shelf restaurants. The event space, it's not quite a convention center. That wasn't what we looked for, but it's a flexible event space that they'll be able to use for all kinds of dinners and shows, and it'll have an outdoor space as well. But the gaming will be state-of-the-art. It'll have separate entrances because that's also a trend in the industry. So we're very excited. We're looking forward to it opening in 2026.
What do you think, or what would you estimate the sort of economic impact to be for this city once it opens up?
Well, the current casino, and I want to emphasize this because the city forefathers, you know, the past councilmen and mayors, when this casino first came in, they made a strategic decision to invest the proceeds of the gaming tax not into brick and mortar or people's salaries, but into what we call the quality of life fund. So the gaming tax funds a number of critical quality of life initiatives. One central one is the quality of life grants. So millions of dollars over the last 30 years have gone into quality of life. So we do a process every year, an application process. Chris Ragone and his team and Community Services do an outstanding job of shepherding that through, and that benefits qualified not-for-profits in Aurora that do so many great things for our community. And then the other significant benefit is it funds ward funds. So each of our 10 aldermen and the 2 aldermen at large get money every year out of the gaming tax that go right back into capital projects, into ward enhancements, and that's distributed amongst the aldermen. So unfortunately, the gaming tax started to slide over the years, and where we were getting, say, $13 to $15 million a year into that fund, it slipped down to about 5. And so we knew, and the casino knew, that this was not turning around anytime soon. The existing casino has been there a while. It's a bit dated. It's not, despite their best efforts, it's not what people would consider current state-of-the-art, best practice casino. So was sort of the impetus of how that deal started.
With that casino moving, right? Obviously, the casino will move off of I-88. Another big question that I'm sure you've heard, I've even heard it walking around in the community, is what's going to happen to the new casino? I'm sorry, the old spot. The old spot. What's going to happen off of New York Street? So, to your knowledge, what do you think might happen over there?
Well, I think we've announced this publicly, and I think in 2025 we will actually execute on this. But we're looking to do an international competition for design. We would like to see a mixed-use high-rise at that site, if it's feasible. We believe there is not a more magnificent setting in the state, maybe even in the country, for a high-rise up and down the Fox River. I think some of the visioning we've done would include retail, some type of retail restaurant, because remember, the spirit of New York Street is Restaurant Row, and we have some wonderful restaurants there already. So hopefully some type of retail restaurant, followed by parking, followed by some level of condo apartments, hotel apartments. Not a bad model that has succeeded in other downtowns, especially towns our size. So that's what we're looking for. The casino is obligated to, once the new casino is up and running, they will close the old one and begin the demolition process to restore it back to a buildable pad, if you will.
You know, recently the city ended up purchasing, or they're about to purchase, the parking deck too off New York. So when you talk about mixed use and potentially some residential opportunities, the city owning that parking deck, I would assume, would bring a lot of people interested into doing it, because that parking deck's there. It'd be perfect for residential.
Well, and that was obviously one of the main reasons we
Right.
did that. We have not yet closed on it. We got city council approval to do so. So that is almost happening as we speak. I mean, we're finalizing the paperwork. But clearly, we already control 2 parking garages in the downtown, the Tivoli deck across from Wabanzi, which also assists with current casino traffic. And then we own the Stope Island deck right outside our window here. And so adding this third one to our portfolio was another strategic move to control it ahead of the casino leaving, but also knowing that down the road, as development occurs along the River North District, we know we'll probably need another parking deck there, especially with the surface parking going. So it's all part of the strategy, right? And then we're currently doing a parking study for the whole area. There were some pretty valid concerns raised that we don't want spillover parking if we don't have enough capacity in the downtown to spill over into our adjacent neighborhoods. So all that's being taken into consideration. And, we'll come back and report out to the public and to the council. And then, I've said this many times, our decisions on bringing forward projects and proposing and negotiating deals are really driven by data and evidence. And the data includes the financial data. The evidence includes market data and studies to show what's the highest and best use in these either vacant parcels or in some of these buildings. And so we're pretty diligent on that because we want long-term value and we want long-term return on investment. That's why we know, for example, DAC, once the financing is clear and whatever, TIF, and we're in this for the long haul. And without some of these incentives, we would not be able to attract the caliber and type of developments that we have.
You talked about, obviously, development, and we talk about strategic partnerships, strategic ways to move things forward. Give me a summation of what the art of the deal is here in Aurora, because you're able to get so much done. You, the mayor, the mayor's office of economic development, everybody working together to get so many big deals done for Aurora. How do you do it?
Well, first of all, you have to love doing it. And we're fortunate that we have some really amazing staffers, subject matter experts that I don't know people always realize, but we were so fortunate to bring David Debo out of the private sector. Wharton grad, worked on Wall Street. He's a deal maker, right? But he's not an in-your-face deal maker. He grinds it out, and he'll listen and he'll talk to people and he'll put pencil to paper, literally, right? Because you see him walking around with his yellow notepads all the time,
Right.
and crunches the numbers. Trevor Dick, we were so fortunate to get Trevor from that suburb just to our suburb to the east.
Yes.
Naperville, and so what a great team, right? And then we've built a tremendous bench over there with all of the folks that are in Moed, and then the mayor came in with a vision, and obviously having been born and raised here, having run several times for mayor, and then finally succeeding, right? And then it's been really the honor of my career in life to be asked to take this chief management position. And my background was in bargaining, negotiating, in past jobs with the city. I was a negotiator, right, for our unions and the risk manager, dealing with a lot of times either emergent situations or conflict. And so you have to have the right people on your team to fill in for each other and back each other up. And we do that in a magnificent way. And nobody does it better than the mayor. The mayor always famously says, if I'm the smartest guy in the room, I'm in trouble. So he plants the vision almost as a challenge to us, and then we get out there and execute it. So one of my favorite movies, I think the team laughs early on, was a movie called Glengarry Glen Ross. Mm-hmm. And it's a famous play, David Mamet, that was turned into a hit movie. I encourage anybody who wants to watch it, but there's a fabulous cameo by Alec Baldwin, and one of his catchphrases was ABC, always be closing. And so I use that as some humor with our team, but also as motivation, and not lose sight of the end goal, which is to do the best we can, find that highest and best use, and be transparent and honest with these developers and everybody we run across, to be realistic and show them also the promise of Aurora and what it could be. I joke with some manager colleagues that maybe don't have to work as hard because of different economic factors or different situations. We have to work hard, and we relish that, And so it's difficult. Does everything work out? No. Do we get bumps in the road that arise? Absolutely. So in addition to being resilient, we have to be resourceful and creative. And you have to have good partners, right? And we do. And we've got some great financial institutions in the city who have stepped up at times to fund. And we've got developers who have not given up at all. And the end result is some pretty amazing projects.
Let me ask you this here for our final question of today's program. You are our Chief Management Officer, and as you said, you've been a part of and negotiated so many deals for this city.
I've been on the team.
You've been on the team.
I don't want to, we're a team.
We are a team, absolutely. Which deal have you helped with that you're most proud of?
That's a very difficult question, because I'm so proud of so many of the things we've done. But to me, I guess, if you're talking transformation, sort of a transformational impact on the community, I would have to say one that's in place now, the former Copley Hospital, the beautiful Bloomhaven campus, and all credit for that has to go to the mayor from the get-go, and a tremendously talented environmental attorney named Jeff Jeep, who we still use as part of our team today. The fact that 300,000 plus facility and campus was basically a cancer on the neighborhood, on the Near East Side of Aurora for decades, and was the poster child for abandonment, right? And the city was just dealing with issue after issue, and those neighbors had to put up with that facility. And finally, we were able to break through with some very creative visioning and planning, and we got it done. It was extremely difficult. There were times we didn't think we were going to get it done, but through the perseverance of both the developers, the city, and tremendous credit to the city council for sticking with the concept and supporting it throughout the way. And so now we have this fantastic building, historic building, that has literally lifted the spirit and the tide of that neighborhood. I'm very proud. Even in the old historic nurses building, the Atravite Bakery is open. They just had their soft opening. VNA Clinic is underway and will be open. So we have more to announce there, but the services they're providing, not just for seniors at Weston Bridges, but the services for adults with developmental challenges, the school district being such a magnificent partner, and also having the courage and fortitude, courage and take the risk to put their headquarters there. And then the team said, if they're going to put their headquarters there, and they have that beautiful historic Bardwell School, let's close the street, make it a greenway. Now there's safe passage, there's a walking path, and our Park District partner, Fox Valley Park District, put that beautiful park there with a splash pad. So that couldn't have worked out better. So we're so thrilled there. And I would say, we talked about the Eastbank. That's certainly transformational. But truly getting the Hollywood Casino deal done, an almost $360 million deal. Yes, it took a significant commitment and investment by the city. But as I said earlier, what the city's going to get back long term in taxes, in jobs, in prestige, the creation of that additional entertainment portion to that district. And we have more coming on Bilter. Stay tuned. But that project alone, and then what it's leaving behind, that opportunity, it's just amazing. So we're very excited. On a real fun note, Trevor and I, as soon as Kindle Market, it was announced they were leaving Naperville, we were all over them. And we stuck with them also through COVID. And we were so fortunate. Wonderful organization, the German-American Chamber of Commerce, great staff. And what a concept, right? 30, 40 plus years down at the Daily Center, and their desire to expand. One thing we asked them, put us last on the list of all the sites they were visiting. So it was July, I think, June or July. So we get with our partners at ACA, Jim Jarvis. I said to Jim, let's crank up the Christmas music. Christmas in July. So we didn't quite dress up the park, but the music kind of set the tone. So when their team came and walked that site, and we started visioning those beautiful German-built Kindle huts, right, and the food and that whole atmosphere on the river, they were sold. And so we're about to open it again this Friday. Last year, over 200,000 visitors. We expect a lot more this year because they decided not to reopen the Wrigley venue. So it's just amazing. And, we're looking forward to a long relationship with them. And so I would say those three really are top right now, but We've done some things recently that might be nudging them, like the data center deals we did. The one deal with Cyrus One resulted in us negotiating a $16 million, basically a recapture to the city. And that money is already being put to great use with the transformation fund for the new area alliance, the new economic development alliance. And then the money we've put aside in MOED, proposed for the new budget. So sort of helping that money get reinvested, it's really exciting.
Well, Alex Alexandrou, thank you so much. This is episode 1 of Inside 44 with Alex Alexandrou. Be sure to subscribe on the City of Aurora, Illinois YouTube page. You can also find the show all over Apple Podcasts, Spotify. And Alex, we're going to do this one again soon. Should we do a little bit of a teaser? Got a little bit of a teaser. The next one we'll be talking about the budget. So that'll be really fun to sit down and
we're going to make the budget
down.
Exciting, too. That's our pledge.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Thank you, John. Great job. Yep. Thanks, everyone.